at ESCunited. Welcome, your favorite Eurovision channel. And guess what? It's all about Eurovision, so let's talk about it. And it has been a long week, so this is the perfect opportunity to discuss it here at Mattitude. I'm gonna have a dry throat. Where we discuss the news of the week and answer your questions. And I'm not doing this on my own. Once again, my buddy Zach, who is joining us in beautiful Tel Aviv, is joining me. What a week, Zach, huh? A lot of updates?
You made it sound like I'm live in Tel Aviv. I'm not. I'm in
Not
boring,
yet.
dreary Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
It's just as exciting. It's just as
Yes.
exciting.
Yes,
So,
I'm stuck in my office at the university on a Saturday morning.
oh, really? I'm stuck in my grandpa's chair. It's like a recliner, and I thought I'm gonna change it up, but it's super uncomfortable doing a live stream out of here. Anyway, let's see who is in the chat. Eurovision Online is here. How you doing? I saw your posts about you trying to live stream Destination Eurovision on your YouTube channel, so make sure you check him out. And Zach is amazing, he is saying. So not everyone hates you, I
Oh,
told you, just most. And Grodno is here, and Valentin Kukalea. Hi from Romania. Tomorrow is a big day for you. Glad you're all here again. Make sure if you want to join the conversation to use at ESCunited in the chat so that I know you're talking to us. Try to stay on topic throughout the show, but at the very end, we have an open Q&A session where you can actually ask any questions as long as they're appropriate. And then we'll answer those and we'll go from there. Because there's a lot to talk about and we don't want to run over our time too much because, Hungary is on and then Malta is on and then France is on and then Latvia is on and. So I'd say let's delve right into it. So, and then why don't we start with the United Kingdom? In case you don't know, Eurovision You Decide, the national final system in the UK, the 6 songs have been revealed. In 2 weeks, we'll know the winner. Now, they have done something a little different this year because even though there are 6 acts, we only have 3 songs. So I know math. I'm pretty good at math, but even that throws you off. It doesn't add up. That means 2 acts perform 1 song. So there's 3 songs. Each song will be performed by 2 different acts, and then we'll have a winner in the end. So earlier, well, it was my last night, but it should have been your morning. I posted my reaction video to the 6 songs, and it was a very interesting experience, to say the least, to read some of those comments because apparently I have a hashtag unpopular opinion. So I want to talk this through with you, Zach. The 6 songs. Before we talk about the quality of the songs, how do you feel about this system about having 3 songs but multiple acts perform the song? Do you think that's the way to go, or you prefer the good old-fashioned national final?
it really doesn't matter because, in my opinion, the song selection is not the strongest. Um,
Hmm.
when you want to talk about a Big Five country doing it right, I think France has made a dramatic change, and I think the UK thinks they know what they're doing, but year after year, I feel like I have high expectations and I'm sorely disappointed. This is my own personal opinion, but I know a lot of people were disappointed and excited about the Spain national selection, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Spain's going to stay in the bottom five again." I actually think the UK's going to be in the bottom five again.
Regardless of what they're going to choose?
There's maybe one song that I could see getting out of the bottom five,
Okay,
and that's probably where people disagree with me.
gotcha. So let's talk it through. So the 3 songs that are in the running are Bigger Than Us, Freaks, and Sweet Lies. So 2 acts each. Now, and just to add on to what you were saying, I kind of agree with that. I don't think that the UK has really figured out what will work, and I'm really worried about the selection, the idea of it, because Germany did that in 2017 and in previous years, and we know how all that ended because you just give the audience three songs to choose from. Yes, you have different arrangements, different styles, and it changes the song a lot. But it's still the same song in that sense. So it's slightly disappointing. That being said, it can also work because in 2010, Germany had a final with two singers and they had three songs, and then Lena won with that song. So I'm not saying it's completely impossible. Like Satellite was only in one of three songs, and the other lady sang it as well, and all that stuff. So it can happen, it can work, but you need to have the material to work with them. From what I'm hearing here, and I see a lot of that online, um, they don't feel that's the case here. And I see Tasha Lu already saying, let's not talk about my country, please. We know that we're not that great, and us from here have the lowest expectation. The BBC do us dirty every year. Well, before we worry about this too much, let's talk about this. So the first song we have is Bigger Than Us, version by Holly Tandy and by Michael Rice. Zach, do you have a favorite amongst these two?
No, neither of them do anything for me. They're both sort of this safe, middle of the road pop. Honestly, I do slightly prefer Holly's version. There's a little bit more personality, but I feel like Michael's version would be the version that does better at Eurovision because
Hmm.
it's a little bit more dramatic, kind of going to Lucy Jones territory with that big final climactic end. Um,
Works for the juries.
Works for the juries, but I don't know. I don't think this is the winning song. Let's just put it that way,
Yeah.
regardless of who you choose.
Yeah, I listened to the songs and I enjoyed them. Like as I was listening to them, I didn't dislike them. I was like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah,
fun. They're
yeah,
good,
nice, but
good, friendly, radio friendly songs, right? And I did say in my video though, and especially now that I think about more, they are too radio friendly. They are like right there. They're not right here, but they're not right there. And this is the worst place you can be at Eurovision. Like you like it, you don't dislike it, but you would never vote for it.
yeah,
And
and I said that year after year. Nice is good, but nice doesn't win Eurovision. You need something that stands out amongst 26 or 25 other songs. And I've always argued that the big five are at a disadvantage because you don't get to hear their song at the semifinal. And someone could come back and say, well, most viewers are not going to watch the semifinals; they're going to watch the final only, so they're going to have equivalent exposure. But I just feel like this is either these songs are going to be songs that just kind of get lost in the mix.
yeah, that's definitely a fair assessment. Now let's talk about the very interesting one, Freaks. Oh, just real quick, back to Bigger Than Us. I actually also prefer Holly's version. Michael's definitely a grand epic one. I think it's like one of the favorites to win right now. It's good, and I just don't quite resonate with it. It doesn't resonate with me as much as it should, maybe, because it feels as this is something I've heard in 2005, like at the X Factor or something like that, like the winning song. That's what it sounds like to me. And that is why I was not crazy about that one, but I like it and I understand why people gravitate towards it. I just was not as wowed with it. Freaks, Zach. Jordan Clark and Maid. Tell me.
Well, if last week we kind of got into it about the Americanization of Eurovision,
Mm-hmm.
and this song's just living proof. I mean, no one in the UK calls it soccer; it's football.
I
And
didn't even
my
notice that.
I'm going to give a shout out to my. This is going to sound uppity. My postdoctoral researcher Avinash, who always calls American football hand egg, because in reality that's what it is. You're holding an egg-shaped ball in your hands. There's nothing about football in it.
You shoot
Football
it
is
once, right? When you kick it off, that's about it.
yeah, exactly. But as far as the song itself, um, I've heard a lot of people saying that the made version is just a sort of WTFery. No one knows what to think about it. Here's my thought. I think this is something different, and if they can get the staging to really complement the song, this is going to be something that will stand out, and I think could do well. I just don't know if it's going to make it out of the UK gauntlet because I feel like every year the UK sort of surprises us with the song they end up selecting to represent them.
Oh
There's
yeah.
always a song that's a favorite one, and then they announce the winner, and you're sort of, this is a strange song that they chose, and then it kind of works out decently at the end, I guess you could say. I think it did with Lucy Jones. I think
Depending
the
on what you
rebound they did
define
was excellent.
decently. I don't know if the 15th place, that's the best result in 10 years almost.
Well, yeah.
I guess it's up for debate. No, I hear what you're saying. So, the Maid song to me, I called it in my reaction video. I think not creepy in a negative way, but spooky almost kind of thing, because I went with that freak sound, I guess. I agree with you. If they really come up with something great stage-wise, it'll probably be the most memorable one. And it was very out of tune to me, but if they can really work those harmonies, who knows? They could really win over the juries, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
It's so hard with the studio version because I remember when we were in Mama, and I don't know if I butchered that pronunciation. I always
Mama.
never seem to get it right. But I remember we talked about that with Montenegro, with Nina and Husi. Like, I totally believe that Nina's vocals were manipulated,
Yeah.
auto-tuned, and you agreed with me. And then we heard her live, and it was like,
She's
holy
singing to a
crap,
track.
this woman's voice is incredible. And I remember we were able to get a picture after the interview, and I remember I just gushed to her, and I was just like, your voice is freaking insane. I don't get why they haven't invited her to come back to sing for Montenegro.
I know, she
think she could do
deserves
incredible,
it.
but
She
that's
should have
another
qualified
conversation.
that year anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing, juries. Freaks sound like a Christmas song, ESC Veggie is saying yes, and you know why? And I just realized that right before we went live, I actually was talking to Zach. So Freaks, the other version by Jordan.
Sorry.
It was stuck in my head all night long. I was falling asleep and I was like, na 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 na. And now I was like, wait, I'm singing Canon in D. Parabelta Canon in D. That's exactly what it is. That's why it won't leave your brain. So,
here's the question.
yes.
Does Eurovision not, or the EBU allow songs? They don't allow songs that sample. So what happens with this song?
No, because it's not a sample. It's really just the chords. Just, remember there's that video where they all use like the same kind of chords, the most popular songs, and ultimately they're all like kind of the same. Just because you use the same, it doesn't mean it's a sample or a copy of the song. So it's not like he's really singing la 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 la. It's just like it kind of has that feel to it because it uses that, but it's not an actual sample of the song. So I couldn't see this one being disqualified for that reason alone.
I don't know, unless someone could argue maybe the song's in public domain and maybe the copyright issue is not even an issue. I don't know.
Yeah, the copyright issue is not copyright will not be an issue, but it still would be breaking the rules as far as like it needs to be an original song. So it's not necessarily the copyright issue that we're talking about here at Eurovision, but it is obviously for other reasons. I just loved the Jordan version because I was listening to. I'm like, I am so happy listening to this one. It makes me happy. I'm like, oh, people are going to gravitate towards that one. It's just cheerful, happy. It makes you yay. And like, okay, I'm pretty safe with my favorite here. And then I went online afterwards and looked at the comments. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm the only one who likes it. Then a few people finally agreed with me, but it seems I'm in the vast minority here when it comes to Jordan's Freaks. But to me, it was the most joyful and cheerful one. I have no idea what he's going to do live with it, but I enjoyed it anyway, and I'm not saying it's a masterpiece. I'm not even claiming it's going to do well. It's purely my own personal taste. It makes me flippin' happy. So I can't deny my fondness for it. Hate me as much as you want, but please don't hate me. And then the last one is Sweet Lies. Tell me sweet little lies. That's a different one, I think. But
yes, that's not Fleetwood Mac.
Okay. What do you think, Zach, about those two? It's Carrie Ann and Anissa.
I mean, I guess, I think it's creative, and I'd say cute sarcastically that the UK and the BBC has tried to do this attempt at two different versions. But this is the one song where I really feel like it shows the weakness of this choice of national final, because the Carrie Ann version is actually the version I prefer. It's a bit dated, but at the same time current. It's a dance song. But to me, when I hear the Anissa version, I feel like I'm listening to someone on The Voice or The X Factor doing an acoustic remake that a contestant on The Voice or X Factor would be doing, that the middle of the road audience who watches TV only on evenings and, follows these shows but never buy the stuff it's the type of stuff they would go for. So I'm a little worried that the Anissa version is going to win out when I think the Carrie Ann version is the superior version.
Yeah, Anissa is very. Yeah, Anissa to me sounds very. It's I said in my video something like she has the Leona Lewis voice, but it's almost like an Alicia Keys song, at least the way it's being put, because it's very R and B
And
ish.
what is Leona Lewis famous for? She's famous for taking rock songs from
Okay,
rock bands and turning them into
that's
sappy, wholesome
why.
ballads. She did it with Snow Patrol's Run. She did it with Oasis's Stop Crying Your Heart Out. She did it with the Nine Inch Nails song. Oh, geez, what song was that? The one Johnny Depp, not Johnny Depp,
Oops, I'm getting
Johnny
confused.
Cash remade. Um, but I feel like it's more the same, and I feel like this would have been a fantastic opportunity to try something a little different and having a dance version than a ballad version. I mean, there's already enough artists that do that themselves. I
Yeah.
mean, Miley Cyrus and Mark Ronson have that song out, and they released a remix, which is an acoustic version, and that makes sense to do because it's giving the fans more what they want. But I don't know. I just feel like this is kind of a cheapened attempt at doing that.
Yeah. Do you know if we're gonna have that panel again, sharing their thoughts and opinions like last year that influenced and then that sent the worst song in the running and ultimately to Eurovision, like Storm? Do you think they're gonna have a say again this year? If yes, then I'm gonna be like, no, shut up, don't
I,
influence the
I don't know.
people.
And Canada is saying that the Johnny Cash song, Nine Inch Nails song, was hurt. Thank you. That's what it was. Yep. I Is it wrong that I just don't care?
No, it's fair. You're allowed to feel the way you feel.
I mean, and that's a strong opinion. People have the right to disagree with me. I mean, I would like to see Made Freaks win, but I have a feeling it's going to be Michael Rice Bigger Than Us, or even Jordan Clark Freaks is going to be the winner.
Okay. So you don't think that Carrie Ann has a shot because this seems to be like a big favorite right now. And I agree with you. It feels a little outdated. It feels like 90s club music. Maybe they will do a little revamp and bring it to the year 2019. Do you think this one would stand a chance at all, or?
I would have originally said Carrie Ann Sweet Lies, hands down winner. But year after year, I've just been surprised with what they chose. I totally thought last year Asanda Legends was going to be the hands down winner, like no doubt about it. And
Yeah.
Storm won, which caught me off guard. And I feel like year after year, I didn't expect Lucy Jones to win. I didn't expect Joe to Jake to win. So I guess this year I'm sort of playing my hand a little bit more carefully based upon previous outcomes.
Yeah, I will probably pick my least favorite song to win because that happens every year. But the UK and I, we hardly ever agree. In 2014, Molly, right? Was in 2014, Children of the Universe. I was like, why do people love it? It's so boring. Everyone loved it. And then Still in Love with You in 2015, I was like, oh, this is going to be popular. I love it. And then everyone hated it. And then Joe and Jake, I'm like, what? That was my least favorite in the national final. Storm was my least favorite in the national final. I'm like, we just don't agree a whole lot, the UK and I. So maybe this year it will be a little different. So, any final thoughts? Your final prediction, just for right now, Zach? We don't know the performance. They could butcher it. I know that. Who is going to win?
For the UK,
Yes.
I'm going to say, yeah, I already said it once, Michael Rice Bigger Than Us or Jordan Clark Freaks. I think the final three are going to be Michael Rice, Jordan Clark, and Anissa.
Okay. I agree with you. I think it will be Michael Rice. That's just my feeling. That's not who I'm rooting for, but that's exactly what's going to happen, I think, because it's not what I want to happen. Anyway, so let's move on to the next topic. I see a comment, so make sure to always do at ESCunited so we don't miss them. Let's talk a little bit about the FYR, former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. Right now, we're still calling that. I guess the name change has not officially been approved yet, so we're gonna stick with that. They have made an announcement. So the broadcaster MRT, they have confirmed a familiar face for Tel Aviv, and it's Tamara Todeska. She's going to represent Macedonia in Tel Aviv. In case you know, she's not a stranger to the Eurovision public. She has participated in Belgrade in 2008 at the contest. She was part with, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Rasak and Adrian. The song "Let Me Love You," anyway, they
That
were
was
in the.
beautiful, Matt.
I know, right? I should just go to Eurovision. Anyway, the point is, this was basically the first time I believe that Macedonia did not qualify from the finals, from the semis, I should say. But it has that weird thing where they were in 10th place, but the 10th place was reserved for, because we had 100% televote back then, was reserved for a backup jury favorite. And it was
Yeah,
replaced.
they got screwed over in 2008 and 2009.
And 2009, correct. And so she is back with a vengeance.
This is her fourth time at
Yes,
Eurovision.
but a first time as a solo artist, though, right? Because in 2004 she was a backup singer for Tose Presky, and then in 2014 her sister Tiana, she was also the backup vocalist. So she also tried to represent Macedonia again in 2015 in the national final, but she didn't win. She was second though, second to Autumn Leaves, but it wasn't meant to be. So she's returning. We don't know the song yet. What do you think about her choice of this choice, Zach?
We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I keep saying that, but we talked about with this country, this reliance and going back to previous artists and it not working well just because the quality of the actual staging never lived up to the hype. And I feel like
Yes.
that happened in 2016, 2017, and 2018.
And 15. Because I didn't even know with Autumn Leaves what they're going to do really when they arrived. Do you remember that? It was
Yeah,
really weird.
they had their choreography and everything. Yeah, they were making it up as they went.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not a good sign. Go
I
ahead.
just think that we have to wait and see. I'm not even going to say wait for the song. I need to wait and see what the staging is going to be because I've just been
Burned too many times.
burned too many
Jaded.
times, and it's just sort of like it almost feels like a burnout. Like by the time they get to Eurovision, where they have all these great ideas and great things, and there's so much hype, and then you get to Eurovision, and it's just sort of what happened here? Where did this dismantling of what the expectations were? What happened?
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like they show a lot of promise each year, but then it falls short. And then I also think about Junior Eurovision, where it seems like year after year there's something that's not getting to the audience of Junior Eurovision. I know Junior Eurovision and Adult Eurovision are two separate things for the most part, but I feel like each year they've had a decent song go to Junior Eurovision. It's just something happened. It's never connected with the audience. And I've heard people say, oh, they're too grown up for Junior Eurovision, but that argument could be made with a lot of the songs and
Yeah.
Junior Eurovision altogether.
Some of them won actually, yeah, that are too grown up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just feel like,
No, I
I don't
get it.
know. I have no thoughts about it. I mean, am I excited that she's coming back? I guess as excited as I would be about any artist coming back. I mean, I'm more excited about the prospect of having Hera Bjork come back to represent Iceland, since she's rumored now to be one of the 10 finalists for the song festival in
Oh,
Iceland.
really?
And we
Yeah,
gotta try
she is. I saw it as leaked, apparently. I haven't really looked at it yet, so I have to look it up. And I know you weren't in Stockholm in 2016. You'll love Serhat from San Marino. He's a very unique character. So that, I know. I can't wait for Serhat and Zach to meet. It's going to be very interesting to watch. I may have you interview him, actually. Uh, um, but somebody said in the chat, Greece and Macedonia have come.
I don't. That sounds kind of menacing.
No, he's just a very intense person. I don't mean that in a bad way, in a good way, but he's like, in the moment, he's like, listen to me. So this is why I'm doing this. And it's like, oh, okay. But I love it. I like interesting and strong personalities. He has a very strong personality. So I think I'm just very curious how you're going to respond. I love him. I love him. It's a good thing. Anyway, somebody said in the chat, Greece and Macedonia actually have come to an official agreement that the name FYR Macedonia will be changed to North Macedonia. Happened on Thursday. I think they've been talking about it for a month. I didn't know if there was a final update because it was still all up for discussion, but it looked good. So I don't know. So for now, until the EBU officially changes it, I will continue to use it just to be safe, because we lose anyway, right? Like if we say Macedonia, the Greek yell at us. If we say FY Macedonia, some other people get mad at us. It's just Macedonia. I'm like,
And yeah, and I mean, and I remember in 2013, I asked Nina, one of the backup singers
mm-hmm.
for Esma Lozano. I said, "So what's the right one?" And she made the argument, "Well, you're in the United States. You're from the United States, and the United States calls it Macedonia, and maybe that's what you should call it." And I kind of went with that for a while, and then I just found myself getting
Yelled at too
yelled
much.
at. Yeah, and I just, if you notice, I've been trying to just say this country during this live stream just to
Yeah.
avoid it.
Yeah. I say
Sorry.
FIR Macedonia. It's just to be safe, I guess. But plus, I don't want to say the whole thing. It's too long. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I am definitely on the same page with you on that. I mean, I'm glad that she's getting another shot, and people are saying in the chat that she's actually pretty famous in the country that we don't want to say the name because we don't want to offend anyone. That is a good thing. I mean, that always it creates a hype, and we do want to have a hype in the country, people being excited about the act. And yes, I'm kind of jaded like you are, because Macedonia. Oh, I said it again. They have a bunch of good songs over the years, and they were really excited, and we all want them to qualify, and then it never happens because then they butcher the staging, or it just doesn't come across well on camera. And I don't want, and I have such low expectations, not because but just because I don't want to disappoint myself again. But I hope they're going to blow us away. Any
We
final?
shall see.
Yeah.
That's my final thoughts.
That's my final thought as well. And let's talk about then something else. So we have the announcement because early next week we'll have the actual allocation draw, right? So meaning with semifinal one, semifinal two, we will decide which country performs in what semi. And it's not just completely random. There are 6 pots that the EBU uses where they're going to draw half of for each pot into one semi and then the other one to the second semi. And the reason for that is to um, minimize, you cannot eliminate it, but minimize any friendly political diaspora voting, all of that. So the 6 pots that are going to be used have been made public by the EBU, and there have been a few changes, but nothing like outrageously different, but it's something to point out. Zach, do you have any thoughts while I'm bringing up maybe something here on the screen?
We talked about this before we went live, but I think the whole pot allocation is just kind of a crock of crap, to be honest.
Now tell me how you really feel, though.
Well, yeah, it's because you have 6 pots that are being allocated to 2 semifinals. So it really isn't like trying to help or prevent a diaspora vote or block voting from happening because you're still going to have friends who are going to show up in certain semifinals regardless of how you try to make these pots work. So
Yeah.
Sweden is always going to have either Norway or Finland or Denmark or an Iceland to help them out. And I don't really think it's going to make much of a change. I know people are up in arms about, oh, Ireland's got moving around. And I kind of like in Ireland to like when you're planning a wedding and you have tables that only fit 6 people and you're trying to get groups of friends together and then you have these sort of leftover countries and you just sort of put them in wherever they fit. And I feel like Ireland maybe is that country that was just sort of placed somewhere. And we're putting so much focus about where Ireland has moved to when it's probably just a leftover that was kind of placed wherever it made sense. And we're probably reading into too much of why they were placed in that certain pot.
Yeah.
And I think it's really not going, ooh, how'd you do that?
Oh, I'm that good.
Yeah. So I don't know. What sense is it going to be to have pot two when pot two could be placed with somewhere else? And you know what? I should take this back because the idea is that they're going to take pot two, for example, and split them into each semi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe there will be some mixtures, but I just think you're still going to have friends and
Yes. But you
certain
cannot
friends.
eliminate it completely. I guess understand that's what I'm saying. You minimize it though. Two examples. Let imagine pot one, which is, I guess, can we call it the Balkan pot or the ex Yugoslavian pot, whatever you want to call it. If all these 6 countries end up in semi one, that gives them a big boost. Now only up to 3 of them will be in one semi, right? The other 3 will be in the other one. And so even if they will all give each other 12 points, that'll not be enough to just push you through to the semi. So I understand what you're saying. However, I do think these pots are incredibly important to minimize it. In my book, I wish you could completely eliminate it, but we live in the real world. And one example I want to use is Russia last year. Russia's song sucked last year. I mean, we all can agree on that, right? But beyond
Even she
that,
said that.
Yes, even she said it. Like, my song kind of is bad. But what I'm trying to say is Russia would have qualified. First of all, they were 11th in the televote, so almost again, right? But they only had one of the countries with them: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus. They were all in the first semifinal. Only Ukraine was in the second, and Ukraine has some issues with Russia right now anyway, so the juries won't give them any points. So there were no true friends for Russia except Latvia, which happens to be in a different pot anyway. So they didn't get any points from their buddies, and that was enough for them to not qualify. Now, if Russia would have been in the first semifinal, and instead of, let's say, I don't know, Armenia, they could have easily qualified or something like that because they would have had more support. So I do see
So
a lot of
I don't
value
know
in that.
about that.
You what? I don't.
I,
I could. If I mean, they probably wouldn't have because of the juries. But the point is the televoters and the televoters. The political voting happens everywhere in the juries and televote or the diaspora, right? But it is way more obvious in the televote than in the juries.
I think what we're coming down to agree. Maybe we agree to disagree, but I think what we can both agree upon is that there's no system in place that's going to be perfect. And
No.
I think what the EBU is trying to do is trying to find something that works as best as possible. And maybe the debate is more, is this the best option available? And if not, what
Yes.
is the solution? And I am just not sure if we have it yet.
No, not yet. I don't know how they would. I don't think necessarily the pots will fix that. It really comes down to a stricter system with the televote, where they can minimize political diaspora voting, a more oversight with the juries to
The
eliminate certain
jury,
aspects.
where one person's vote is worth as much as a fifth of the televoting.
Yeah, but that's just how juries work. You cannot have the same amount of jury members. You can increase the numbers, but I was just more talking about call out
Sorry, I'm just
as a.
really bitter this morning, I
I know
guess.
you are like the crabby Abby here. No, I'm kidding. My point is Armenia and Azerbaijan, an example, because they're the most extreme when it comes to their ranking, because all five jury members put Azerbaijan in last place and vice versa, right? Regardless of the song. This is where like the EBU or someone that who's in the room, the official person, say you can't do that every single year. That is just not reasonable. So that is what I'm talking about. And it's just one of the fixes. But one of the things that I think stood out the most, pot four. Pot four has Ireland, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland. And you think like, oh, this is very random, but Ireland has a huge, diaspora of Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland in the televote. These are the countries that are almost always really high in the televote, and that is why they're all being thrown into the same pot. And then they just added Portugal because they have to put it somewhere. So that's the one that you said at the wedding. You just put someone random at a table. And
Yeah. Someone asked where's Israel at, and it's this year. Israel's not in the pot because um, they're a host country, and they, along with the Big Five, are not considered in the pot. There will be an allocation of where they vote that comes on Monday.
yes, yes. And Gil Cognizant, EBU should shame countries jury that keep on voting 12 points to the same friends over the years, like Moldova, Romania, Italy, and San Marino. Here's the thing very interesting about Moldova, Romania. I agree with you, first of all. Interesting enough, when we had that transparent voting system come in place in 2014, you could see that Moldova and Romania, the juries, they didn't always give each other high points anymore because they were watched a little bit. Although, now over the past few years, they've gotten a little bit more comfortable again with the votes and they started doing the same thing again. Same applies for Greece and Cyprus. The juries didn't give each other 12 points by default for the longest time. Now they kind of went back to that a few years ago. So it seems people got a little bit more comfortable with this whole jury, and people, it needs to be called out.
Well,
Absolutely.
Fuego was fire, and the Greek song was in Greek, which may have been of interest to the Cyprus jurors.
Well, that
Uh,
one, but what is it, love? And the Greek one didn't even get the 12 points. It was is it love? That one.
I know, but she's a well-known artist,
She's a
so
well-known
maybe.
artist, but that should not affect the juries.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about that, the big issue should be, why do we just turn the eye to Armenia and Azerbaijan voting each other last with the jurors?
What do you
Seems
mean
like
only?
it seems like the jurors are always ranking one another last when they're in the same semi. Although I
Yes, no,
have,
that's what I said. They always do. Armenia and Azerbaijan always dead
yeah,
last, regardless of the song.
yeah, and I guess it's funny because you have pot two with that are all friends, pot one that are all friends, And then pot three, you have like frenemies, like people who are all part of a former Soviet
Yes, it's
bloc.
frenemies. It's like I don't like you, but I love you. Yeah, it's
I,
very political. Yes, it's a very difficult and complicated situation there.
I've heard stories about Americans who went to Baku, and when people asked where they're from and they said America, some people initially heard Armenia and kind of gave them dirty looks.
Oh, geez, that's no good. I love
Which,
pot
which is
five.
why I'm just gonna say I'm from Canada.
Oh yeah, we're all Canadians for a little while. Um, Pot five is to me the funniest one. It's that one's probably the most random one. Granted, you have like Belgium and the Netherlands who tend to be a little bit more on the same side, and people can make the argument for Austria and Switzerland, but their voting patterns are not quite as extreme. Belgium and Netherlands tend to be very friendly, which is understandable. But other than that, I don't see this one quite as in your face as some of the other pots. Do you agree?
Yeah,
Anyway, so this is just a very interesting thing I wanted to point out. The pod situation. Not sure, guys, if you agree or disagree in there. Again, it hasn't changed that much. It's mostly just about Ireland. Actually, Ireland had to switch it up. It will be a dream come true if Latvia will get in our semifinal Ireland and Lithuania from pot four. I know, right? You hope for that little head start, but we're trying to fight that. We're trying to fight that. Anyway, let me take this thing off because we no longer need it.
I mean, if
Uh,
we want to be transparent, I think the EBU should probably be more transparent in how they're choosing these pots. They kind of give us vague instructions about, well, this is how we did it, and with the jury voting, we now see how they vote and rank things. Maybe there needs to be more transparency with how the pots are allocated.
It
And,
always needs to be more transparency, absolutely.
yeah.
Some of them are pretty obvious, right? The first three in particular, I'm like, yeah, no explaining. But the rest, you can at least, yeah. Let's talk about why is this country in this pod. Although this year, I must say, I feel in previous years I was really confused where some random country was in a pod that I felt it didn't belong. This year, I feel actually I agree for the most part with it. All right. So, what else do we have? Oh, yes. So, in case you didn't know, we have the four hosts. Yes, you heard me right. Israel Kantz, the broadcaster, and the EBU have announced the hosts that are going to take us through the entire three shows in Tel Aviv. And we have four again, just like last year. I was pretty unhappy with the number of four hosts last year, and I was pushing hard and campaigning for less hosts. Less hosts. But they didn't listen. They didn't listen. They thought, okay, let's go with four hosts because it's probably logistically way easier. And that's what they're going to do. So the four individuals are, but instead of having four female, we have two males and two females. It's Bar Refaeli. She is actually one of the probably the most known person here in the United States. Did you know of her, Zach, before this?
I know she's in trouble with tax
Yes,
issues.
evasion,
So,
right? Tax evasion. There was this whole rumor that she may even be pulled from hosting, but whatever reason, they decided, no, you can stay on. Actually, when this happened, the whole tax evasion thing, it actually was on the news. I want to say CNN or whatever, or some other news. They were actually talking about her, and I was like, this is funny because we just saw it at Eurovision stuff. I feel always
yeah,
like,
she's a well-known model
yes,
and well-known person. Yeah, and Gil's letting us know it's two main hosts and two green room hosts.
yes. And the funny thing is that when she was on the news, she was not necessarily even introduced as Bar Raffaelli. She was like Leonardo DiCaprio's ex. That is like, okay, that is not really a title that I would want to have.
Can I tell you what I'm the most disappointed about? I had this sudden moment where I thought when I saw the name
Oh, can I interrupt you
Yazar.
for 1 second? Because
Oh
Nikolai
yeah,
Mollak just gave us a super chat. Thank you so much for that. Which of the French songs do you think will have the best chance at Eurovision? As a matter of fact, Nikolai, if you hold on just a couple of minutes, after we discuss the hosts, we are going to discuss France, the finals. So I will answer that question. I just don't want to steal the thunder right now. But thank you for your support, and I promise you, you will get your answer. Go ahead, Zach.
all
Sorry.
right. When I saw the name Asiasar, I got excited because I thought at first it was going to be Aziz from Bulgaria, the uh,
Who's he?
the non-binary backup singer from
Oh,
2006. I was
I
just I forgot. Wrong country.
forgot. So close, but no cigar. Iris Tal is a very famous person, a host actually in Israel, from what I'm hearing. He hosted a gazillion shows. Mayesh, Ha'olam, Oh gosh, I don't know how to pronounce these things. Big Brother, I know how to pronounce that, as well as Wheel of Fortune. And he produced shows like The Vault and became popular, The Brain. So a bunch of them. And he has some Eurovision connection, at least because he was a commentator for Israel last year, which I think was the first commentator in many, many years that they had. So that's a good connection, at least. So I approve of that choice. Do you have any other thoughts on him?
No, I mean, I someone beat me to it. Wonder whether prepare for the flash joke deliveries and be ready to cringe when they inevitably start flossing, and that's kind of what I was gonna say.
And then the other two are Asi Azar, also a fairly experienced host in Israel. He hosted the Rising Star show, and is also one of the most influential gay people in the world. I'm reading this right now. I'm not sure. The world is according to Out magazine. I never heard of him, but hey, maybe he is. And he also was co-hosting Big Brother. Any thoughts on him?
I mean, I think yeah, he hosted the what's that show that Netta won?
The what?
What's the show from last year that Netta won?
Rising Star.
Rising Star. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, all I remember about him was every time I was watching the videos, they kept going to him giving commentary, and I was like, "Get him off the screen! I want to keep hearing her sing."
Yeah, that's him. I didn't watch the show, so I didn't know him. But yeah, that's good that he gets a shot here as well. And then Lucy Ayub, she is a brand new face. If you say she is a YouTuber, so you could have hired me, Israel. What's wrong with you? No, so she is now up and coming in Israel. So good for her. Now, who are the two green room hosts? You said there two of them are green room. Is that correct?
The last two,
The,
the latter two.
so I wonder because in Lisbon they had like Philomena being mostly the green room host, but she's done other stuff as well. You know, she was
Yep.
not just green room. So I wonder if it's just going to be exclusively green room for them, and the other two will be exclusively everything else, or if they're going to do it a little bit more like Lisbon, where it's a little bit more of a all over the place kind of thing. Now, one of the criticisms I have had, Zach, I'm not sure if you agree, in Lisbon, the problem I had with four hosts, of course, I understand like the technical aspect. Like you can already have the next host standing here, so you can have the person run over there, learn another script or whatever. They're just already good to go. So I can see from a camera work and logistics, it makes sense. But from a viewer perspective, we didn't get to know these hosts as much. I'm like, who is she again? And that one, and it's just you didn't feel as connected with it. Is that really important, or do you agree with that? What are your thoughts about having all these hosts?
I mean, I really can't tell you. You know, when I think of Eurovision hosts, I think of Petra from Sweden, and I think of oh God, what's her name from Germany? The real funny
Anke.
one. Yeah,
Danke,
Anka. Yeah,
Anke.
but I mean, as far as any of the other hosts, pretty forgettable. So I really don't need to get to know who they are. You know, I will say Kyle Scavino just wrote, you know, they should put the guy that made us cry saying goodbye on the jury vote for Israel in 2017, Ofer
Uh,
Naksun. Um, I was kind of like, that's kind of sad. Like, I always kind of thought when he was a voting spokesperson for Israel, I always thought he was kind of with it. He had a respect for the host country. He'd always say something in the host country's
yes,
language.
I loved him.
And I just feel like, you know, that could have been, you know, it's a different broadcaster. So there's probably a conflict of interest. I don't even know what he's doing now, since he's probably lost his job when that station went down. But it would have been nice to see someone who had such a long-standing
Yes,
aspect to Israel's participation in Eurovision take part, and
that is
kind of
true.
a sore opportunity that they missed.
Yeah, it is. At one point, I want to make real quick. Oh,
Okay, and I'm getting a lot of crap about forgettable hosts. I'm saying, okay, for hosts in the last 5, 6, 7 years, sorry, 8, because I'm getting What about Ulrika? What about Saki? Um,
Saki, oh, well, he was not unforgettable for the wrong reasons, I think. Gil Kagan said something interesting. Because Green Room will be in another complex, the Expo 1, not Expo 2, it will be easier logistically to host in one Green Room instead of running back and forth. And that is a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't even think of that. We're going to have the Green Room in one pavilion, Pavilion 1, and the actual arena will be in Pavilion 2. So yes, then now thinking about it, makes perfect sense to have hosts for both events. So I'm sure at the very beginning, all four of them will be on stage. Welcome to Eurovision. Let the voting begin. Yada yada yada. And then probably the other two will make their way to the green room, and it's going to be interesting because there will be an audience in the green room, kind of like it was in 2013, probably just a little even bigger than that. So that makes sense. It's a very good point to make about this. Let me see what else we have to discuss. So, is there anything for you hosting, Zach? Let me just ask you: do you think it should really just be get me from one section of the show to another, announce it, and move on, or do you want to have really? Is it really important to be entertaining? In fact, like Petra and Manzemolo had this great chemistry, and they were very funny, and people loved it. But they also were almost like I wouldn't call them the highlight of the show, but they certainly were a big part of the show. Do you think the host should take a more of a backseat and let everything else go on? What is your attitude when it comes to hosting?
I mean, half of us watching are going to be using that as an opportunity to get a break to the bathroom or go get another drink. The other half are going to have to watch the host while the commentators are blabbering over them. So it really doesn't matter.
Eurotowley, you're back. Thank you for your super chat. 2 questions. Have you noticed that the songs with questionable lyrics in the Moldovan selection? I haven't listened to the Moldovan songs yet. I got to do my video. It's on my list, but I don't want to spoil it just yet. Have you listened to the Moldovan songs yet?
I think Tally's referring to the Sasha song, "Love You Like a Daughter" or something.
No, that is kind of creepy.
Well, I'm just gonna assume that it's kind of like we belong to each other, like a sister to a brother.
Yes, I was like in 2014. Yes, and that changed.
And
like
I don't know Finland 1980. Now I have to look this up.
I know Finland 80. All I remember is the guy with the flute. And I like that song actually. I did like it. So see, totally every once in a while I do remember a song. I did like it. 1980 wasn't my favorite Eurovision year, and that was one of the better ones that I will say. So
and Amadeus is asking, do you think it's going to be weird when they announce the winners and all the contestants are in an entirely different complex? I mean, we dealt with that in 2013. And I wonder, if you remember, 2013 was a year where they stopped the voting, or they didn't stop the voting. They just paused the voting to announce, well, gig is up. We already know Denmark won. And I think part of that was to get Emily's bum up from the green room to the actual arena, because it was about a 5-minute walk to get from the one arena to the other. So,
so that is very interesting that you point that out, because we'll have a winner, obviously, and with the new system, the current system, we don't know most likely until the very last minute who is going to win. So let's say, I don't know, Germany wins. Gotta use it. Germany wins this year, and they're being announced. It's gonna take them forever to get to the actual stage, then, huh?
Well, what I could see them doing is maybe they do the quick rundown of the 26th place to 11th place. And maybe they take the top 10 and they start moving them, or maybe they take the top 5 and start moving them into the arena. So they actually have.
Oh, they're going to take a quick break. Like, okay, when we come back, we announce the top 5, blah, blah, blah kind of thing.
Or maybe something like that. Or maybe who knows what they'll do. Or maybe they'll take the people who are the top 5 after the jury vote and move them into the arena.
Yeah. We shall see. We got to move on because we only got a few minutes left. We have to talk about France because Nikolai is patiently waiting for our answer that who has the best chance at Eurovision and who also we want to see win. So in case you don't know and you live under a rock, Destination Eurovision, the French show is taking place tonight after 2 semifinals where 4 songs from each semifinal moved on out of a field of 9, are now fighting for that prestigious trophy, and then ultimately the honor to represent France at Eurovision 2019 in Tel Aviv. There can only be one winner, but there are a bunch of competitors and out there. So let's talk this through, Zach. 8 songs. Now we do know who won the televote and jury vote in the semis, so we can kind of take that into consideration as far as like what the odds are today. But it's not the full picture because we're going to have different juries this time around. In addition to that, now the more popular songs will compete against one another, so that could totally mix things up. What do you think?
And here's my thing: when you have a competition where it's not just the song that's aiming to be performed at Eurovision, but an additional song, it's hard to tell if the jurors are the televoters. I'm more concerned about the televoters, who they're really voting for. Are they really voting for that specific song? Or are they voting for the act based upon the previous performance of the Eurovision song? Because the 8 artists in the finale have to sing a previous Eurovision song.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a couple notes about who I think would really be able to help get votes because of that. And maybe people who would not get as many votes, like the divas singing Waterloo. It's kind of like, for me, boring. They're really not going to help. But I think someone like Silvana Reg, who's going to sing, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but the runner-up from 1991, that for me could be really curious. And that could be something that really stands out. And then with Emmanuel Moret, again, don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, sorry. I heard that his cover of "Take on Me," Aha, from last week was really phenomenal.
It was amazing. I was like, oh my god, it was breathtakingly beautiful. It's like
so
a
maybe
beautiful
that's why
ballad
he
version.
won the televote, or that's why he got a jump in the televoting. But he's going to sing Euphoria again. You know, I have this feeling he's going to do another stripped down. He's going to do a stripped down ballad version of that.
We shall see. He has the voice, and that's what it is. Let's go for the songs just real quick, one by one. First up, it's Chimène Badi, La Haute. She finished overall in the second place, I think, and she finished second in the televote, which was a big surprise to me, a good surprise, because she has a fantastic voice. She's going to sing Celine Dion's song, Ne partez pas sans moi, and then, of course, her song, La Haute. Do you think a contender at all?
Human
Surprise?
Body. No, I feel like she's going to get lost in the mix. I feel like she's going to be compared to Simone's song, and I think Simone's going to win out.
Interesting. I can see that. I think she's going to do better in the televote than we expect, but I don't think she's going to scratch the top 3 either. She could be like 4th, 5th place maybe.
That's where I have her. Yeah, I have her in the middle of the pack, 5th, 6th.
Yeah. Now, Sylvan Arek is Alel Ledea, as I said. He's going to sing that Amina song from 1991, which is a shocker because he's not necessarily a strong singer. He's more of a rapper. He sings a little as well. So that song requires unique vocals. Now, he's probably going to have a very different interpretation. So, but anyway, the most important thing is the part of his song. Do you think he has a shot?
Well, I guess maybe I'm naive. How popular is that song to the general French audience?
His song or his cover song?
The cover song, the Mina song.
It's very popular with the older generation, those who actually paid attention to the history of the contest. It's the majority of people say it should have won over Corolla, but most people, like the younger folks, won't know it now, so they wouldn't really get it.
I mean, I think it could be something interesting. I envision that he's going to totally recreate that song, and it may be a song that's more up his style, and it may be kind of an opportunity for him to kind of show, I don't need to have the best vocals, but I can provide an entertaining song. Because I watched both of his performances from Semi 1, and I was a bit captivated by it, and something about it stood out.
Yes.
And I think he had more jury votes than he had for televotes. So
I was surprised. I thought it was be the other way around, actually. I thought the televoters will really like it, and the juries won't appreciate it as much. And so it was just really. That's how you do a proper staging to make a song stand out, and they did well. And he looked great on stage. He had fun. He was energetic. I don't think it's going to go anywhere in the ranking overall, but I like it. I really like it, and I want him to do really, really well. And he should be very proud of himself. But both agree it's not going to be anywhere near the top 3 tonight.
Yeah, well, I have him 3rd or 4th.
Oh, really? That high? I don't have him that high. Not because I don't want him. Keep in mind, these are predictions. If it were my personal taste, he would be in the top 3. Dusan Sois un bon fils. He was a surprise qualifier last week that no one saw coming because he finished fifth in the televote, fifth in the juries, and then he squeezed through because of the way the points landed everywhere.
That
Um,
televoting was crazy. I mean,
yes, Jacher, he sings Amir's song. So thoughts? I don't think. I mean, I have him currently as last place.
yeah, I have him in. I saw it Comunion Grande as seventh and eighth right
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, not much to say here. I saw it, Kama Un Grande. That was a very interesting outcome because she finished second in the juries, and then dead last with the televoters, like 6 points, I want to say.
Yeah,
However, because of the many jury points she received, she
she squeezed.
survived. She
Yeah.
squeezed barely through in fourth place, but she made it. Is that basically just it's over for her, like no shot? What do you think?
I mean, I think it's going to be. I don't think she's going to get as much jury votes this time around
Mm-hmm.
when you bring in the acts from semi two. So I have her as seventh place.
Seventh place. Yeah, I can see that happening unless you really improved her performance on it because it wasn't great, but there were also sound issues. But people just didn't
Yeah,
click.
I couldn't tell what was going on if it was just something didn't
The
seem right.
mixing was right because it was all night. It was the second semifinal was way better. The sound, so it was certain things were out of her control, but it wasn't great regardless. As much as I want to be like, even the vibe wasn't there. Even if you just had it on mute, it didn't quite come across as much. And I love the song, so I'm disappointed. But I also have it fairly far down. She's going to sing the Fairy Tale by Alexander Rybak. That's going to be interesting, huh?
Yeah, should be good.
It's really good. That's true. Now, number five, Simone, tous les deux, won the jury vote. Like 4 out of 5 jurors gave her 12 points, and the other one I think gave her 10. And then she finished in second place with the televoters, but it was a neck and neck race
Neck and
with
neck. Yep.
Emmanuel. Yeah. So still in the running. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't get the appeal of the song, but it's capturing people's attention. And I think with seeing the winning song from 1977, it's going to attract voters, both songs combined.
Yes.
I have another favorite in the bunch, but I don't think that individual's choice for a Eurovision song is really going to help get any new voters. It's just going to ravage, it's going to get his fan base more
Yeah,
excited.
I
But
think
it's
I know
not
what
going
you're
to attract
talking
new
about.
voters.
We'll get to him in just a second. Simone, I mean, I gravitate to that song. It speaks to me. It feels. I get the emotions in it. I think it's a beautiful song that feels French. And I said, even if she were to sing in English, don't do it. Don't do it, Simone. I'm just saying, let's just pretend she was. You still know it's a French song. Is that, you
I,
know what I mean? It's just a melody, the style, like it feels so French to me, and I love it so much. It feels authentic.
I don't know.
It's
I
my
got more
opinion.
out of France 2015. You remember I had a pretty emotional reaction to the rehearsals from France in
Oh
2015,
yes, you
and
did.
I just don't get it from this song, and I don't know why, but who knows?
Because you're being cranky. No, I'm kidding. It happens. That's the thing about music. It's just sometimes it speaks to you, sometimes it doesn't. This one does speak to me, and she's not the most experienced singer. Her vocal range is not necessarily like out there, but the song is perfect for her voice, and I'm not counting her out. I'm not convinced she's going to win, but I think she's going to win the jury vote tonight. But I don't think she's going to win the televote. So I think she's going to be definitely in the top three, probably top two. She could win. You think it's going to be top three though for her?
Oh yeah, I have her down. She's going to win.
Oh, so you think Simone is going to win? I don't.
I think she's going to win, but it's not my favorite song of the
Okay,
act.
I want her to win. I don't think she's going to win. So interesting, but we'll see. Again, maybe it's gonna be different. Emmanuel, moi, La Promesse also through, finished in third place with the juries, I think, and then won the televote by a little. Now, people are saying the reason why he won is because he's probably the most known person in the running in the semis, and that helped him a lot. That could be the case. Personally, I thought both his performance of Take On Me, but also his song was beautifully performed. His voice, ugh, so good. And I was totally into it. I always liked the song, so I may be a little biased towards it. But once it was performed, I'm like, yeah, Yeah, this one's going to go through. And Robert, who was actually with me on the post live stream, text message messaged me like, "Can I change my prediction? This is going to go through." And he didn't like it either. Right? Yeah, he didn't like it, but you knew there was something there. So I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's going to be in the top four. What do you think?
Yeah, I have him as third place.
Third place?
Yeah.
Did you like the performance at least, or
Yeah, I did.
not much to say about it?
Yeah, it just kind of felt like a bit like Ireland all over again.
Last year?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see that. I just think it has just a very strong voice, and that'll definitely help. And then it's
And
number.
I mean, I guess I just wish this is a song that I feel like many people in the LGBT community can identify with.
If they speak
But
French.
yeah, I don't know. Even when I read the lyrics, I kind of said, yeah, this is nice. I understand. I identify with it, but just something was missing for me. And
That's fair. And I
I don't
think a
know,
lot of
maybe.
people agree with you. A lot of people agree with you on that. Yeah.
And I can make the same argument for the song that is my favorite of the bunch that I can identify with it.
Okay, and that's Bilal Hassani Roy, right? Or Roy.
Yes. Are we
Roy.
on? Are we on
Roy.
that? Are we there?
Yes, it's number 7 now. So why don't you go ahead and share your thoughts? And he's going to sing, by the way, Fuego by Eleni Ferreira. What? Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is what I mean. I think Fuego is the right song for him to sing, but I think it's not going to attract any more viewers. His fan base is going to eat it up. I'm going to eat it up. I love his song. I love what he does with it. I think it's only going to get better because it did seem a little rehearsed the first time around and it wasn't all put together, but I saw something there. And I think he's not the strongest singer. I mean, we all know that, but it's just something about the performance and everything that connects with me. And, maybe it's just you kind of have this dichotomy of, representation of people who are LGBT, where you almost have this old school with Emmanuel More and La Promesse, and then you have Bilal, who's sort of more this young, new, fresh, in your face, I'm not ashamed who I am, you're not going to snatch my crown type of thing. And it's going to be interesting to see how people respond to it, particularly in France, where there is a lot of differences in opinions that we're seeing with different politics that are occurring in that country.
On top of that, yes. Real quick,
Yeah.
Yuatali, thanks again for your super chat. My top 3, he puts number 1 Emmanuel, 2 Bilal, and 3 Sylvain. This is a really good ranking for me. I completely see that. I love Emmanuel. I love Sylvain. They're both in my top 3 as well. I just have someone else in there as well. I'm just going to share that in a second. So thanks for sharing that, and thanks for your support.
We all know who you have in the top 3.
I know by now. I think people figured it out. So anyway, with Bilal, I do think I have him down as the winner. I feel as we're going to have a similar situation we had last year with Madame Monsieur. And coincidentally, they wrote the song for him as well. But I think he's not going to win the jury vote, but he's going to have such a big lead in the televote because he has so many fans, so much support that will carry him to the finals. Unless somehow Simone or Emmanuel will steal some of those votes. But his fan base is so its own niche, right? And I don't think that he's going to steal votes from other, or like his votes will be stolen. They will be dedicated just for him. And I think that'll be just enough to push him through. He won the jury vote 2 weeks ago as well by a landslide. So that if he would have sucked there more, I would have been a little bit less sure. But right now I'm like, yeah, I think he's going to win.
I know Jules on my butt right now. They're like, "Why do you like Bilal? Overrated?" I don't know. Alice said Bilal's very likable, and I agree with Alice. There's something about me that makes me like his performance. And I did say last week, I believe that when I saw some of his, what is he? He's on Instagram or one of those. When I saw some of those videos he posts, like those were kind of like, no, I don't like this. But he's just representing himself, I think, better in Destination Eurovision than I think he does in social media, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't like what he's showing on social media, and that's not because I don't know why. It's just not my thing, and that's okay. But I think what he has presenting and performing for Destination Eurovision, I'm buying into it. And I guess this is kind of the great thing about Destination Eurovision and having an national final is that it's putting the vote in the public B, it works completely right, or completely
Completely
wrong.
wrong. That's the thing, yeah. You don't want to have just 100% jury vote. The thing is, I'm worried. I mean, first of all, I love Bilal. He is very much into Eurovision. He takes this seriously. He wants to improve. He was in our chat a few weeks ago when we reviewed his song, and he said, "I'm doing my best, trying to make you proud." So he is a good person, and he would be a formidable person to represent the country. So this is when I'm not quite as crazy about the song, but I can see him being a good representative. Like you can be proud of him. I personally am a little more worried about his international appeal, not just even about his persona, but really just the song itself. I don't know if it's going to be carrying. This song will carry across Europe as well as it does nationally, where it's going crazy. Like people love it. I don't necessarily think it has the international appeal needed. It's not as grand and powerful as I need it to be for it to stand out. But that's just my observation. We got to keep moving because we're running out of time. The last ones are the divas, La Voix.
Yeah.
Teresa. Now, I did have this hunch last week that they could do well if it comes across right. I should have put them in my predictions. I didn't. I suck. And what do you were surprised, Zach, right? That
Yeah,
you
I
made.
wasn't. Sorry, Lily just called me out. She said, I think Bilal is young and acts his age in social media, and that may be why you don't like him. And that's a valid point. I mean, I'm probably double his age now, and it's just a different time. And I'm welcome to him doing his thing, and that's great. Yeah, and I just think, yeah, just I'm not, I'm just not a fan of social media, to be quite honest. And here I am on a
Oh, you do
live
sound
stream,
old
but
now. I love social
and it's funny.
media.
I guess maybe to kind of go to Bilal's defense, for me to have such a negative reaction to his social media and what he puts on there, but to love his presence on Destination Eurovision maybe says something. And I
Yes.
don't know, but the divas, um, I I just don't see it. I just feel like it's corny Eurovision.
It is corny Eurovision. Absolutely. But that's probably why
And
it's doing so well.
yes, and Wonder Weather says it best. Amazing voices, a bad song. I agree 100%.
It's a cliche. It is such a cliche, everything about it. And I enjoyed it when it came on. Like, I wouldn't put it in my top three or at the top at all. I do love them. I mean, they have great vocals, and if they had a better song, then I would be way more into it. But they remind me more of, like, we had like the Rounder Girls in 2000, for Austria. It reminds me of that, but they needed this really loud, powerful song where the vocals would shine. I don't think this is the right song, but it has definitely a fan base. I don't think that it's going to win. It finished third in the televote last week. With now more competition, I think it'll. But it's going to be the last song of the night, if I'm not mistaken, so that could help it. So where do you think it's going to end up?
I think it's going to be sixth.
Sixth? Okay, yeah, I think that is a fair. I would have it also sixth place, fifth, sixth place is what I'm predicting here as well. So let's. The question that was asked earlier as well, not your personal taste, Zach. If you would have to send a song out of the field of eight that would do the best at Eurovision, who do you think would have the best shot to do
Oh
well?
God, this is so hard. I oh
I'm gonna answer first then, but this is
yeah.
difficult because this one, in this particular case, I do think my personal favorite lines up with it is Simone. I do think that Simone. You look at the international people listening to this will be that moment that just like, oh my, be quiet. I need to listen to this, and I think this one would have absolutely the best chance of doing well. A song like this usually doesn't go big with Eurovision fans. They're like Eleni Ferreira's Fuego music, but this one they're gravitating towards it. It says something about it. So I think if you want to do well, Simone is probably your best shot. That's my opinion. Zach, now it's your turn.
Um, like I said, I think Simone's going to win. I think Bilal is my favorite song of the bunch and favorite performer. I actually think the songs that would do the best at Eurovision would be Sylvain or Emmanuel.
Really interesting.
Yeah,
I could see Emmanuel being a surprise. I don't know about Sylvain. I don't know.
I don't think Sylvain's going to win, but I think his performance, if it's a add on to what was presented in the first semifinal, could stand out because it would be about the performance more so than the song.
Okay.
The
Okay.
performance would add something unique to the
Yeah. Yeah.
song itself. Yeah.
So we always run over time. My apologies, everyone. So this is your chance to ask your questions, Q&A. If you want to do Q&A, make sure you put at ESCunited so we can see it. And so, what else is while we're waiting for the questions to come in? Next week, well, today is going to be busy anyway because we have all these shows going on. But then next week is going to be even more, right? Don't we have like all the other shows taking place next week as well? This is like when we call it Super Saturday. Is that next week when it starts?
Yeah, well, March 2nd, I think it's the real Super Saturday, but yeah, it's going to be busy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking at all the
Okay, so
questions.
here's the question. So I'm disappointed in you two. I see you as professional in Bila's song and performance obviously extremely bad. You heard what I said. I said that I don't think it's going to do as well as Eurovision as people think it will. I don't think it's going to have the mass appeal. So I think you misinterpreted my thoughts. I'm just saying I think it's going to win because of the fan base. That is what I'm saying. It has such a big hype, and it's just being pushed so hard that this is why I think it's going to do well. I'm not saying that I think it's the best song because it's not even in my top three. If you want to know my top three, it's Sylvain, Emmanuel, and Simone. Those are my top three by far. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, Lyndon ESC saying on Tuesday morning, CET, the ORF announces the artist and the song during the Hit Radio 03 morning show. Supposedly the artist is female. Any thoughts?
So that takes it down to 50% chance it's someone in the country.
Yes. I mean, what are you going to answer? Like, well, all I can say is she, assuming it's a she, has big shoes to fill up. Cesar was probably my favorite last year, so it's going to be tough to beat that. So I'm trying to be open-minded, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. That's all I'm
Yep.
saying. Okay, so next up, Wonder. Oop, my screen just scrolled too far. Stephen Candle is saying, who do you think will win in ESC Z? So
Check.
the Czech one, yeah. Based on the revealed jury votes on Monday. I forgot the songs already. It was such a bad selection. It was one song that I mentioned in my reaction video. Which one?
Space Sushi.
No.
True Colors.
Is that the one? Yes, I think it's True Colors. Yes, it's True Colors.
I think that's the one in the lead now. They've only announced the 12-point votes, but you never know.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen the results yet. So I definitely think that True Colors would be the best choice, and I think that would be the one to win. That would be my thing. Favorite song from Ireland in the last 10 years? Zach.
Oh, that's easy. Lipstick, Jedward.
Really?
I hate Jedward, but I love that song.
Got a lipstick. So, okay, we're in 2019, so I'm going back to 2009. I want to say last year. Together. That's the first time I mean, there are other good songs, but I didn't. Ireland has been really missing it when it comes to my personal taste. Some songs are better than others, but for the most part, it was just kind of, nah, I wasn't crazy about Jetwood. Lipstick was fun, but last year definitely was my favorite.
Well, we'll always have you talking with Molly from 2015 about her cow, or was it her goat?
Was I? I don't remember.
You asked a question about her favorite cow or goat, and she was totally caught off guard. She's like, "How the heck did you know about that?"
I don't remember that. I did say that.
Okay. Yeah.
I do my research. I don't remember what I say, but I do my research. And
Jules saying did not mean to be rude. So no, we totally get it. Everyone has a difference of opinion, and that's the way it is, and that's what makes Eurovision so great. Democracy, damn it.
Democracy. Okay, and then she's asking, what do you think of Duncan? Is he promising? The Dutch singer. What do you think, Zach? He has a good voice. I'm gonna say he has a good voice. He just has to pick the right song for his voice. No, they're saying they heard the song and everyone unanimously voted, this is so amazing. Of course, they're not going to say, the people in charge, it was okay. So we figured there's nothing better.
I don't know. Didn't they say that about the Toppers? Like, didn't they say that song was awesome? And
I don't remember. But the Toppers, they had like a mini national final where they had 3 songs to choose from. So it was a little different there. But I mean, they're not going to poo-poo on the song that they select, obviously.
Yeah.
Favorite Israeli song since 2000, Zach?
2000.
It's not your favorite for the wrong reasons. You hate it.
Exactly. My favorite song for the right reasons.
For the right... No, shut up.
No, real favorite song from Israel, probably 2013.
Oh, I will never recover
Patricio.
from that set. She crying in the room. We're all just
I
like,
know.
oh. I just remember us being. We were in the green room in case you know. Zach and I, we got tickets because I had like a little audience there, and we were sitting in. I feel like we talk about it every time we're on live stream, but we
We
were in
do.
the loser corner where San Marino, Switzerland, and Macedonia. Right in 2013, none
And
of them
Latvia.
qualified. Yeah, Latvia was this side as well. You're
Yep,
right.
his head was just caved into his arms.
Yes. So we were in the loser corner, and it was so depressing. Not one person. Then we saw um, Israel crying over them, and both of us like, Zach, we gotta get out of here. This is so
Yep.
depressing. We just had to get out of there. So that really sucked.
Yep. Oh,
But that's
and
how it goes.
Malta. Everyone's asking about Malta.
What about it?
Who's gonna win?
I didn't watch. I don't watch those talent singing shows. I watched. What?
I think you need to get Fernando on the live stream next to offer his thoughts. He would have a lot to say, but I know
Good or
he's in the
bad?
audience.
I don't know. I don't. I watched like a few clips. I remember that was like the favorite that they had like this one girl, and I watched the clip, her audition. I'm like,
Michaela.
she's fine. She's fine. She seems just not that experienced. She's just fine to me. But we don't know the song, so I cannot judge her if I don't know the song that she's going to perform at Eurovision.
Yeah.
So
And then someone else is asking about Latvia Supernova semifinal one. I haven't had a chance to hear the songs yet, but my opinion is that my hope is that Samantha Tina actually sings a song that she feels is worth the while, unlike last time.
It's not
No,
so
it's not.
here's the thing. It is
horrendous.
I'm seriously, and I wanted her to do well, but she even said like it was an interview, and she said we wrote it in a couple of hours or something like that, because they just didn't know they had. And it's I said it in my video, my reaction video. She looks like a drunk. Oh, God, I forgot her name right now. Jessica Lange, like on American Horror Story. She's like singing like she's like yeah. It was really odd. It's a really bad song, and I wanted her to do well, but this is not going to be her year. The Latvian selection is bad overall. So it you have to watch my video because I don't remember all the
Oh wait,
names, but
someone's asking deep favorite song from Belgium. I know mine.
from
Any
when on?
from
Any
any.
point in time?
Yep.
Any point in time, I would have to look at the list. I loved 1978 actually. This is before I was
1983 Rendezvous.
Rendezvous.
Yep.
Really
Yep.
interesting.
I love that song. That is my favorite Belgium song. It is just the live version. The live version with the orchestra was fan effing tastic.
I loved Belgium in 1978 where they finished second place. I should I think was it second? Was it yeah? I thought that was the best song of the night. And then more recently, I'm actually a big fan of Roberto Bellarosa, "Love Kills," over and over. Remember when we talked to the backup vocals and the singers, and they spoke barely any English? We're like, oh,
They
this
were
is your.
just kind of like, why are you talking to us? He's the artist. We're the backups.
Hey, we tried. We tried. Anyway, so I think that's all the time we have. But actually, don't leave just yet. Just so you know, after Destination Eurovision, once we have a winner, I will be back this time with Robert, and we're going to discuss the results and see what's going to happen, if there are any changes in the whole performances and all of that. It's a lot of fun. So make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss it. Any final thoughts on your end, Zach?
No, I'm just. I'll tell you off later. I'll tell you later. It's an inside joke. Sorry, guys.
Oh, I love inside jokes. Anyway, everyone, that's it for now. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good whatever.